He is one of the finest ambassadors the sport of tennis has. He is Stephen Amritraj. He currently is chief tennis officer at UTR, and his contributions to the sport of tennis immeasurable, and what he has done from his playing career to what he is doing on the business side of things. And we're going to have a lot of fun talking about his career, his rise, how he got to where he is, the obstacles he overcame, and some key college matches that you were a part of that are part of your resume. You're looking at yourself like, what are you talking about? But trust me, I got a good one for you. I'm Bryan Fenley. This is the On to Something podcast. I'm a broadcaster on the ATP Challenger Tour level with the USTA. So, Stephen, I really appreciate you doing this. It's an honor to have you. I go back to 2006. You're six singles. You're playing for Duke. ACC Championship match. Take me into the headspace of you, the clutch gene you had to get the job done against Virginia.
Well, Bryan, thanks for having me today. I mean, it's a long trip down memory lane for that. It seems forever ago. It's thanks for the intro and thanks for the time today. It's been we've been trying to do this for a bit, but it's great to finally get on. I don't know whether we should start there or not, but it was a pretty special match to me. I won the decider against Virginia for the ACC title. It was my senior year. I had a pretty big knee injury the year before, an ACL that really I wasn't fully healthy from coming back. But some of my best friends were on that team to this day. Jonathan Stokey being one of them, Peter Rodriguez, Peter Schultz, and I didn't know whether I was the best person for the job, but my coach at the time, Jay Lapidus, believed in me, and Ramsey Smith was the assistant. And, we managed to be down 3-0 as a team against Virginia and came back and ended up winning the decider. And, obviously it could have been anyone, but because we all needed to win. But it was, it was a really proud moment for me, knowing that, a year ago I had actually lost the decider against Virginia, and had this massive knee surgery pretty much the week after. And so to come back and have that was definitely a highlight of my career, a high point of my career.
Yeah, you got some redemption when it comes to your college career. And if I'm not mistaken, so when you were at Duke, your wife, Allison Riske, her sister was at Vanderbilt.
Yes.
And there's a story where you were at Duke, and I believe Vanderbilt was in town, or Duke had traveled to Vanderbilt. Either way, it was a Duke Vanderbilt match. And you were kind of like doing the whole heckling thing out there for Allison's sister. What has it been like years afterwards to then be married to the sister of someone you were heckling?
That's pretty funny. You have some pretty good sources, because that one is not very well known. But yeah, no, I actually did spend my time heckling Sarah. She's a pretty incredible sport about it. Obviously it's been, 15 years since then, but that definitely happened, and she didn't hold it against me. So, I appreciate Sarah. She's the best. Allie kind of knows my personality, so I don't think she would have expected too much less. And that's just par for the course as freshman Stephen at Duke in 2002.
And look at where you are now. We're joined by Stephen Amritraj with UTR. I'm Bryan Fenley, a broadcaster for the USTA on the Challenger level. So your wife has said that you are and always will be her dream come true. Why is that? What does she mean?
I have no idea. It's a good question. I mean, I think that, she's so special as a person and as a player. My wife, Allison Riske, it's really the same for me. I think that one of the things that, we both do a pretty good job of, I think, is supporting each other. And so whether it's been wherever she's training or wherever kind of my career takes me, I think that, we both kind of understand the journey that each of us are on. And I think many people would agree that she's one of the hardest working people out there and really tries to do things in the right way, with kind of the right intentions behind it. And so, she's actually an inspiration for me to try to do the best I can every day. I think that we both have personal stories in tennis that kind of drive us. And so, I'm grateful that she feels that way. I feel the same way too. But, it's really kind of a mutual thing that we've both been able to really kind of lean on each other when we've needed to.
You clearly have been there while she's playing, pep talks, support, coaching, being there emotionally for her in whatever way she wants. How has she given you a pep talk and helped you in your career, or said something to you that was uplifting, that allowed you to really kind of say, yeah, you know what, Allison, you're right. And that really helped me looking back.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a good question. You know, I think that obviously there's a lot of like being at Universal Tennis, which we've rebranded from UTR actually. And so being at Universal Tennis over the last 4 years has been an incredible journey. Being at the USTA before that was, an awesome opportunity and journey as well. And I think I've been fortunate enough to try to think of some things out of the box, and kind of be involved in things out of the box, whether it's, creating ATP and ITF kind of tournaments on college campuses and privatizing that, and trying to give more college kids the opportunity, or whether it's the college match days that we ran to open up the new center in the USTA National Campus, or quite honestly, last year during the pandemic when our entire team at Universal Tennis, created this pro tennis series that we ran out of a guy's house in West Palm Beach. Like that's for each of those things, like I think that those were hard. Those were a lot of work. Those were, kind of times where you're going against the grain. And she's been incredibly supportive on those times and every other day to try to really kind of help me facilitate what I believe in. And I think that that's, that's one of the key things that, kind of really is a motivating factor for me every day.
Where do you think that desire to, like you said, think outside the box, be a forward thinker, move the sport along and take it into the next generation, where did those sorts of thoughts and inspirations come from, originate from you?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a really good question. I mean, I was fortunate to be blessed with kind of, a family that played professional tennis. My dad was on the tour for forever. My uncle VJ is, obviously one of the best known players from India and Asia, kind of in the 70s and 80s. And then, both of them, especially VJ kind of like did great things in the business side of the sport after my dad, had ownership in a tennis club. So like we've been in tennis our whole life. I think I was really fortunate enough. I was really fortunate to be dragged around with my dad. So when I was a really, young kid, and kind of realize learn not only how kind of like tennis the sport works, but like tennis the kind of organizations and business sides of it. So I think that was a really helpful start. I think that, as you mentioned, talking about businesses and kind of the journey that people have had with it, like I do think that I've seen it from a lot of different sides, as a player, as a coach, as an organizer, with a role now in a tech company that's really kind of focused on changing the sport. Like, and I think each one of those things has played a key role in kind of learning. And so that's what I try to do every day, which is learn from the people around me, the people that we work with, the people that we don't work with, and kind of the overall ecosystem of tennis, and relate that to kind of what can potentially be improved.
Stephen Amritraj is with us, Chief Tennis Officer at Universal Tennis. I'm Bryan Fenley with USTA and for Fox Sports Radio. So you brought up your family, established name in tennis, one of the great names in the sport. When you think about growing up in a family like that, how much pressure do you feel or have felt growing up to meet the standards or the expectations of those who came before you in your family? And also how you think about, well, I'm going to do this my way, or the juggling act between trying to meet their level or surpass it, because we all want to impress. We all want that validation from our family members, but at the same time realizing like I'm doing my own thing. I'm paving my own path.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I mean, look, I think that there was definitely some element of that, like earlier in my junior career, and potentially as I was playing on the tour myself. But as I mentioned, I had 3 massive knee injuries, and so the expectations of being a 15, 20-year pro on the tour were just not really realistic for me. And also kind of, I think that each of us has our own journey, as I mentioned. And so, I wake up pretty much every day and thinking exactly what I would tell any person that I had worked with as a coach, or kind of what I wish I had told myself a little bit more when I was 14 or 15. Just, literally be the best you can every single day. earn it every day, and in whatever you're doing. And so I think that I can look myself with, in the mirror with a lot of peace of mind, knowing that I'm doing that. And so I don't really think about kind of any pressures to compete with anyone or anything like that anymore. It's just more about competing with myself, which is definitely challenging.
What are you like as a competitor now that you're not playing as much, but now that you're doing it in the business space? How have you taken those instincts and that mindset on the court to what you're doing now in business?
Yeah, I mean, look, like I think, it's as you mentioned, like there are outside of the box ideas or outside of the kind of realm thinking on stuff. But I think the single most important and underrated characteristic in this business is execution. And so like the ability to execute on, obviously pick the most ambitious and largest plans that you can think of, like those are all wonderful. And people sometimes spout out ideas on how they would want the sport to be changed, but like there's really no kind of like process to execution behind it. And so I think that I've been lucky to at least have gone through and executed on some of those things. I mean, some of the big ones earlier, and this year our creation of the UTR Pro Tennis Tour has been a massive bear. And I think that if you find like-minded people who you can surround yourself with that have that same expectation, like it really is out there. Like I want to be competitive. I want to be great in terms of making this work. And I think at the team that we have in Universal Tennis is incredible, quite honestly. And so I can be at the competitive level of kind of an athlete or kind of a coach when I played or coached with these folks next to me, because I know that they're going to be just as competitive as I am. So it's that is a very there's a very kind of like special feeling when you have that with you.
Mardy Fish is one of the great competitors in the sport in recent times. How is he your role model?
Well, I mean, look, I mean, he has definitely been someone I've learned a lot from in my life. He took a chance on me when I was a kind of a young coach, and he was already kind of at the top, so it was really kind of just helping him try to continue in terms of what his success had already been. But it gave me the opportunity to learn about how someone in the top 10, top 8, really goes about their business. And so, I've taken that to heart, and I've taken kind of the knowledge that I gained there to kind of understand, kind of how a champion works. And so, he's an amazing person, and I think he's doing incredible things. Now his career's over. I mean, I think that he will be I think he is, and will go down as one of the best U.S. Davis Cup captains ever. I think couldn't be a better choice. I know how much he cares about these guys, and he's doing amazing things all over the place. So it's amazing to see, and I know I've learned a lot from him.
One of the most amazing things from him was that documentary that came out, which was absolutely incredible. So well done. For you to see that, knowing that you played a part in his life, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, look, I was there for a couple of those moments, and it was really scary, and it just hurt because I saw a friend of mine going through what he did. But I think that Marty's got a larger mission out there. He's definitely got a larger plan, and he's got a larger overall mindset in terms of what he's trying to do. And I think that it's just wonderful. He's going to help so many people.
Stephen Amritraj is with us. I'm Bryan Fenley. Your mission is, as we've talked about, is to grow the game, to do things that haven't been done before. Where do you think that universal tennis can go in the future here? Because it's so cutting edge. You're behind so many things. It's got great backing from the recreation players to the top. It is out there. It's becoming mainstream. So where do you think this thing can go in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think I'm not one that focuses on kind of the end or even kind of a destination or a goal. I mean, it really is the process of getting better each day. And that's what we bring. That's what the entire team brings. So, I think that one of the best things that we've done is whatever there is for any level of tennis player, we have something, we have a product, we have some value add at Universal Tennis, whether it's a rating as the core of the company that basically allows you to have the most accurate indication of your level, or whether it's these amazing products like, we have an amazing product called Flex Leagues. I think we're up in over 75 countries. And so this allows people of similar ability to be able to set a kind of like a date and time to play a competitive match, that's convenient to them within a week. I mean, this, kind of decentralized organization of the sport is something that people are craving. And we're seeing it because these are expanding significantly. And so, that's exciting. That's for kind of like your recreational players. We have, a new, obviously, as I mentioned, kind of like a pro tour at the 20 to 25K level. Like, I mean, this is giving players, the future level players coming out of college, just the opportunity that they've never had before. This is incredible. We came out with a new product called Paid Hits. This is going to try to leverage the marketplace that is out there between players who are in college that are now able to potentially use their name, image, and likeness, and a market that we know is craving to possibly hit with people better than that. And so whether that's a junior player who wants to see what the level is of someone who's playing, at their local university, or whether that's, a recreational adult or competitive adult that wants to have like potentially a once in a lifetime hit, or continually have a person close to them that can just hit with them. I think that this is, it's exploring a market that is currently not there. And so, and those are just a few of the many things that I'm excited about. And I think that, look, the one thing I can guarantee is that whatever level you are, there's something out there at Universal Tennis that's going to be helpful for you. And I couldn't advocate enough that people just come on universaltennis.com or download our app, which has been released about a month now, to kind of see what's out there and learn a little bit more about the programs that are there, because whatever you're looking for, I think that there can be something that would be a good fit.
And when I hear you talk, Stephen, I can really get to the bottom of, at your core, giving back is so important. And for you, that has to be one of the most rewarding things, to see how many ways you can positively impact people in the game of tennis, and how you're bringing more people together. My final question for you, I'm Bryan Fenley, is what particular moment post-playing career are you most proud of? And I know there's so many different things you could say, but something where you overcame something that really made a difference for you, whether it was something internally you overcame or an obstacle that you're proud about. It doesn't have to be something tennis related. It could be just an inner goal that you were able to achieve.
Wow, that's a really good question. I would need to give that probably a little bit more thought. But
sure.
Look, I think the first thing that comes to mind, and it was a really kind of big decision from a career standpoint. This is taking aside my family and everything else. But like, I think one of the biggest things that comes to mind is, there was an opportunity when I was with the USTA and I was the national coach for collegiate tennis, and our goal was to basically pick the best American players in college and help them transition to the tour. And this was a year where Jenny Brady came through the program, Danielle Collins came through the program, Mackie McDonald came through the program, and to see them all crushing it now is so gratifying, right? Like, we basically had this goal of using college as the pathway that we felt like it could be. And that was an awesome moment. I love college tennis. I believe it's an incredible driver for the sport in the US. And, there was a moment shortly after that where I was offered a position to basically oversee both that side of the role at the time. And at the same time oversee kind of the community tennis part of college tennis, which was, really the events and kind of the landscape and where the USTA role in that was going to be. And, it was a big choice at the time, because it was really taking on two jobs. It was taking on two jobs, and it was going to require me to be off the court. And I love coaching. I love being there with the players I was working with to help them. But, it was kind of the moment that was a little bit more of my transition to the business side. And, since then, it's really kind of gone well, because I've brought the competitive approach that, most players or athletes or coaches have, but really with kind of a, business goals in mind. And so I think that was really kind of a key moment for me. I'd gotten some advice from some people I really respected, and they kind of laid out this stark choice of like, do you want to be on the court and do you want to live this competitiveness, or do you want to kind of potentially take a step back? And it was a hard one. But I wasn't willing to settle for kind of one or the other, and I kind of brought both. And so that has kind of really been a key moment in my career. And my advice to people in that same situation would be to just do the work, just kind of do more, and kind of like raise your hand to take on more, raise your hand to go the extra mile, because I really feel like if people are wanting to grow themselves, like I think that will get them out of their comfort zone to do it. And so that's a moment that I'm really proud of, because it could have been way easier, way less stressful if I had said no, but I said yes, and I think it's made a lot of difference.
And that is why you're one of the great ambassadors of the sport. Your ability to take on more and to take chances and to take risks, and look what you've done and more to come. I can't wait to see what is.
Thanks, man. You're being a little too kind in this, but I do appreciate the kind words. Truly.
Of course. I know you're a humble guy. I just appreciate it. Stephen Amritraj, I'm Bryan Fenley. Stephen, thank you so much for doing this.
Absolutely. All the best.